When I opened the door that morning and saw him standing there with his suitcase, thinner and broken, I realized that some promises we make can destroy us, and some we break can save us. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to where it all began. My name is Sophia. I'm 31 years old, living in a cramped apartment in London where the walls are thin and the rent is thick. Money was running out faster than I could earn it, so I did what desperate people do. I posted an ad online, searching for someone to split the cost of living with me. Someone to share this small corner of the world. A week crawled by before my phone finally buzzed with a response. His name was Aaron. He arrived on a grey Tuesday afternoon, carrying a single bag and wearing clothes that looked too clean for the city. Aaron had just left a small town behind, he told me. Traded fields and silence for concrete and noise because of a new job. When he spoke, his voice was soft, almost apologetic. He said he didn't talk much, that he preferred quiet spaces and simple routines. There was something different about him, something I couldn't quite name. He wasn't like the loud, confident people I surrounded myself with every day. Aaron was gentle. He was polite in a way that felt old-fashioned, almost fragile. So I said yes. The next day he moved in. My life back then was chaos wrapped in ambition. I worked in marketing, drowning in deadlines and client meetings that stretched into the night. My days were endless. My nights were crowded with people and noise and drinks I didn't really want. I came home late most evenings, exhausted and hollow. Aaron was always there when I walked through the door, either reading a book under the dim lamp or standing in the kitchen, stirring something that smelled like comfort. He cooked for both of us without being asked, leaving plates covered on the counter when I was too late to eat with him. I noticed how he never left the apartment on weekends. He never mentioned friends or plans. He was always alone, moving through the rooms like a shadow that didn't quite belong. Then came that Friday evening, the one that changed everything. I came home feeling shattered, my chest tight and my eyes burning with tears I refused to let fall until I was safely inside. I just had another fight with my ex-boyfriend. The kind of argument that reopens old wounds and reminds you why some people are meant to stay in the past. My hands were shaking as I pushed open the door. Aaron was standing in the living room, a book hanging loosely in his hand. He looked up at me, and his expression shifted immediately. He didn't ask what happened. He just said, quietly, "A bad day?" I stared at his calm face, at the way he looked at me like I mattered, like my pain was something worth noticing. Slowly, without thinking, I reached out toward him. Aaron froze. His eyes widened, and for a moment, he looked like he might step back. But he didn't. I moved closer, close enough to feel the warmth radiating from him. My voice came out barely above a whisper. "Aaron, have you ever been with someone before?" His face turned the color of sunset. He looked down, embarrassed, vulnerable in a way I'd never seen anyone be. "No," he said. "Never." My heart lurched in my chest. Something shifted between us in that moment. Something fragile and electric. We moved closer, the space between us disappearing. Aaron was nervous, his hands trembling as he touched me like I was something precious, something he was afraid to break. I guided him, slowly, gently, and my heart felt something it hadn't felt in years. He made me feel alive again, like I was more than just another person stumbling through the wreckage of my own life. Afterward, he looked at me with those wide, uncertain eyes and asked, "Was I good?" I smiled, my chest aching with something tender and true. You were perfect, I told him. He smiled back, and it was like watching someone discover something they never knew existed. Love, connection, belonging. But when I woke up the next morning, the bed beside me was cold and empty. I called his name. No answer. I walked to his bedroom door and found it standing open. The room stripped bare. His clothes were gone. His bag was gone. His phone was off, unreachable. Aaron had vanished without a word, without a goodbye, without any explanation at all. I stood there in the doorway, staring at the empty space where he'd been, feeling something crack inside my chest. Where did he go? Why did he leave like this? What did I do wrong? Our night together had meant something to me. Something real. I waited for him to come back, checking my phone every few minutes, hoping for a text, a call, anything. But nothing came. Days bled into each other, and the apartment felt haunted by his absence. Couldn't focus at work. I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying that night in my mind, searching for the moment I'd driven him away. Then, finally, my phone buzzed. My heart stopped. It was Aaron. The message was short, almost cruel in its simplicity. I'm sorry, Sophia. I had to go home. I didn't mean to hurt you. I read it over and over until the words blurred. Anger flooded through me, hot and bitter. He was sorry. That's all he could say? What did he mean he had to go home? What kind of reason was that for disappearing from someone's life? I needed answers. I needed the truth, even if it hurt. I made a decision that felt reckless and necessary all at once. I found out where his hometown was, about 2 hours outside London, and I bought a train ticket that same afternoon. When I arrived, the town was smaller than I'd imagined, quiet and worn at the edges. I found his address scribbled on an old envelope and walked until I stood in front of an old house with peeling paint and a garden gone wild. I took a deep breath, feeling my pulse hammer in my throat, and knocked. An old woman answered. Her face was lined with exhaustion and something heavier, something like grief. She looked at me for a long moment before she spoke. You're Sophia, aren't you? My mouth went dry. How did she know my name? Yes, I managed. I am. Her expression hardened. Aaron told me about you, but you shouldn't have come here. A cold wave of dread washed over me, but she stepped aside and let me in. She was Aaron's mother. She led me to a small living room that smelled like old wood and lavender, and she told me a story that made my blood run cold. Years ago, Aaron's father had died, she said, her voice breaking slightly. Before he passed, Aaron made him a promise. He promised his father he would stay pure until marriage, that he would wait for the right person to become his wife. It was a sacred vow, she explained, something Aaron had carried with him like a burden. But he broke that promise with me. The guilt consumed him. The shame was too much to bear. That's why he ran. That's why he couldn't face me. I sat there, unable to move, unable to breathe. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to process what I was hearing. My heart felt like it was made of lead. 3 long months passed. I tried to move on, tried to forget, but Aaron's face haunted me. I wondered if he thought about me the way I thought about him, if he regretted leaving, if he ever planned to come back. Then, one ordinary morning, I heard a knock at my door. I opened it, And there he was. Aaron stood on my doorstep with a suitcase in his hand, looking thinner, looking exhausted, looking like he'd been through a war with himself. "I needed time," he said, his voice rough. "I needed to think. But I couldn't forget you, Sophia. I tried, but it was impossible." My heart was racing. I wasn't angry anymore. I just felt relief, overwhelming and dizzying. I let him inside, and we sat together on the couch. Aaron looked at me with eyes full of pain. "When I left," he began, "I was so confused. My father's promise was everything to me. I thought I'd betrayed him. I thought love had to be pure and perfect, that feelings had to follow strict rules. But being away from you taught me something. Real love isn't perfect, it's messy, it's complicated. It makes you feel things you never expected. You showed me that, Sophia. What we had was real. It was honest. And I missed you more than I can say." Tears spilled down my face. I reached for his hand and held it tight. He smiled, and I knew in that moment that I wanted him in my life again. I let him back in. That happiness never comes without a price. Soon, people found out about us. Someone saw us together and started talking. Whispers spread through my office like poison. They said terrible things about me. They said I used Aaron, that I took advantage of his innocence. The words cut deeper than I wanted to admit. Aaron saw how much it hurt me. He wanted to confront them, to defend me from their cruelty. But I stopped him. I told him it didn't matter what they said, that we knew the truth. I tried to be strong, but the judgment followed me everywhere. I thought about leaving him, thought that maybe if I walked away, the rumors would die and his reputation would be safe. But Aaron refused. He held my hand and looked at me with fierce determination. "I'm not ashamed of you, Sophia. I'm proud to be with you. I love you." His love gave me strength when I had none left. We decided to face the world together, no matter what they said. 2 years later, we left the city behind. We moved to a small town by the sea, where the air smelled like salt and freedom. We found a small house with a garden, a place where we could finally breathe. Aaron found a teaching job at the local college, teaching history to students who actually wanted to learn. He was happy there, truly happy. I opened a small jewelry shop in town, selling handmade pieces that I crafted with my own hands. In London, I'd been drowning in stress and expectations. Now, I was creating something beautiful, something that felt like mine. Aaron still blushes when I bring up our first night together. That shyness never left him, and I love him even more for it. I was there with him when he was a virgin, when he didn't know what love felt like, and that makes our connection something rare, something sacred. True love means standing together when the world tries to tear you apart. Our life is proof of that. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that love is worth fighting for, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe so you never miss another story. Thank you for listening.